Hello and welcome back to Creative Gardening. We'll be discussing about top 10 plants for food garden in subtropical climates. Be sure to watch all the way to the end. If you are new to the channel, then hit the subscribe button below from our life-changing content. Having a green thumb, dreaming of growing an abundance of food and having that fresh food on your table to eat, then this is the video for you. We actually feel like that we are in a really good position to be able to share these tips with you. The reason why is it not that long ago that I was complete rookie gardener myself. Go back just 3 years ago and I had grown very little food and then I launched into a year-long project of attempting and successful growing and foraging everything that I ate for an entire year. During that year, I grew over 100 different foods in the garden, so I quickly went from a beginner who had grown very little to a pretty experienced gardener who has spent hundreds of housing in the garden and the other people's gardens. So, we are in a place where we can still remember the nights of frantic search online and calling friends and seeds not supporting and plants dying and just that fear. To now having the confidence and really being way beyond the beginner stage, so that is why I'm really excited to be able to share this advice with you. From a recent beginner to a now pretty decent gardener. So my first tip is really simple and that is start small. A lot of people have this dream of turning their whole yard into a garden, growing an incredible amount of food. That is wonderful dream to have. I completely support it, but what a lot of people miss out on this fact that it does not happen overnight. That you go from having a very little garden skills to all of a sudden to paradisal garden. Everybody has to start somewhere. For a lot of us who do not have gardening in our background, our parents did not garden where we are starting from scratch as adults. Starting small is one of my absolute key for beginner gardeners. That could mean a small raised bed in your front yard. It could mean some plants on your balcony or on your window shelves. Do not put yourself down for any amount of food that you grow. Any amount of food you grow is really positive. Step forward to start small and each sessions. You can add on more and more and more. This will also build your confidence one step at a time. If you start with way more than can possibly handle, often it gets away from you, become overwhelmed, and then you just kind of lose it all. It says like if it is case and you do think can't go big right away. Absolutely, start small. Now if you have so much free time and you really think this is what you want to do, I'm not discouraging you from going, but definitely one of my number one tip is to start small. If you feel like that what is needed for you at the time, next up is keep it locally. Really try to seek out local resources. The truth is that the gardening knowledge is almost everywhere. It is often that we pass it up. We do not realize that anybody gardens in our area because we are not looking for it. We do not realize it, but everywhere around the country and around the world, there are local resources that really know that area well. Seek out local nurseries, local seed companies, local gardeners. If you are driving around your neighborhood and you see a gardening someone's front yard, knock on that door and say hello and talk to them. A really great way to go local is community gardens. Join a community garden so that you can learn what plants are growing well there, get support from them. Another thing is local classes. If you find classes that are in your area, that is great way to get knowledge that is based on your area. Garden together. There is no reason to do this alone. If you are at home alone doing this all by yourself and all this doing is looking on the internet, Facebook groups, things like that, watching YouTube videos, sure, these things are helpful, but it is easy to feel really overwhelmed and unempowered when it is all by yourself. So get involved with others. When I had my garden in my front yard, I would have people drive by and I would see them to stop and look. But moving into actual plants, moving into planting, where do you source your seeds and your plants? For me, it is all about local varieties. So, seeking out local seed companies and local nurseries that have been growing these plants in your region for years or even decades. How that works is if a plant is designed for that area, it already knows the insects that are going to attack it. It already knows the weather pattern. This is plant that designs to grow in that area. So if you can buy your seed from local seed companies that produce them in your area as well as nurseries, this drastically increases your chance of success. But generally, most plants need a lot of sun. Make sure that you are not under the shades of tree or where those houses cascade for half the day. So before you plant your garden, keep an eye on the spot and remember that the sun changes throughout the year. So planting is full sun. As far as water, one of the basic ways to tell if you are watering enough is when you grab a handful of soil. Ideally, it should stay in a clump that breaks a little bit. It is basically a consistency of a wrong out sponge. Watering in the morning is the best before the heat. If not the morning, then the evening, not in the middle of the day. Another way to test if you have enough water is you stick your finger down into the soil. And if it is moist when you get into finger down to get about second knuckle here, then that another sign that you have enough water. If it is dry all the way down, it needs to be watered. So soil varies all over the places. I hope that you gain a lot from this video. If you did, make sure to subscribe. If you have friends who have beginner gardens that consider themselves to have a buckle thumb, make sure to share this video to help them if you think it would helpful. If you want to get this out into YouTube world, ask questions. In the comment below, make sure to give thumbs up as well. I love you very much. I will see you again in the garden real soon. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and be sure to turn on the bell notification so you don't miss any videos just like this one.